Hey y'all, Keto Coach E here. So today for Keto Class, we're going to discuss nuts and a little bit about fruits, but we're going to talk about nuts because there are top three. I got the top three that everyone should be using in order to help themselves get deeper into ketosis and get the amount of fat that they need. So stay tuned. All right, y'all. So we are here. We're talking about nuts and more so nuts today, y'all, because I really see that there's a huge mistake that people make with the ketogenic lifestyle, and the biggest part of that mistake is with I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there early: almonds, peanuts, cashews. Those can really hinder you in the lifestyle. Now, I'm going to go into a little bit more depth about like almonds and pecans and Brazil nuts and all of these, because I have a top three, and the top three I think that you should stick with, and I'm going to explain why, because y'all may hear me say this all of the time, is that you should stick with the top three, and I'm going to tell you exactly why I say that, why I say you got to stick with those top three, because at the end of the day, it's about getting the healthy fat. And when I teach is to get at least 120 grams of healthy fat. And that's before I know anything about you. That's before you put anything in a macros calculator or anything like that. You should be getting somewhere around 120 grams of fat. And I always say healthy fat. And nuts is one of the greatest places to get that from. And y'all may hear me also say get your 20s, because I look for things that have about 20 grams of fat, because I know that if I can get that a few times a day, then I can really get to 100 and 120 easier. So I look for those things and I teach you how to get to those things. So y'all definitely, if you're in on the lives, y'all make sure you smash those like buttons and make comments, because that just lets the algorithm know that it's valuable information. If it's valuable to you and you don't interact, then they assume it's not valuable to anyone. So they're like, you here watching and you ain't like it, so it must not be good. So definitely y'all help the algorithm out by liking it, sharing it, all of those good things, all of those social media rules, they just social media rules, So I appreciate y'all for that. And I see someone in there, you got to say, hey, coach, you got to allow StreamYard to recognize you, so that way I know who you are. But I'm going to say, hey, anyway. So thank you for the comment. So I see Natasha. So, hey, Natasha, thanks for popping in there. I see someone else in there as well. If you go up to the description, you can let StreamYard recognize you, and it will actually, I will know who you are when you pop in here. Your profile and everything will pop up like I saw Natasha. So we got a couple people on Facebook. So y'all definitely, make sure you hit a like button while you're in here, share it, especially on the YouTube side. Make sure you like it. So let's get going, y'all. So first things first, let's pull up. Let's go here. So we're looking at macadamia nuts. I like to have myself on the screen a little bit there. So hopefully y'all can still see that. So when I look at macadamia nuts, y'all see I actually did the math and everything early, because like I told my mastermind group, look, like I got to get that math in early, because I'll be the messed up on the math, right? And I think on the last two I didn't change. So maybe I changed them during the mastermind. But when you look at macadamia nuts, and this is why macadamia nuts is such a great source for you to use on the ketogenic lifestyle, because here you can see you're getting 21.6 grams of fat. If you're looking to get to 100 and 20 grams of fat, you need items like this. And don't go nowhere, y'all, because I'm going to break it all the way down, because some people are eating the wrong nuts and seeds. And I'm going to say more nuts because the seeds are a little easier to manage. But people are eating the wrong nuts. And I'm going to show you exactly why you need to stick with the top three. I'm going to give you the top three up front, and then I'm going to show you the ones that people usually kind of mess up with. So 21 grams of fat. In that 21 grams of fat, we're looking at net carbs. So you got 3.8 grams of carbs, and then you got 2.3 grams of fiber. It's giving you 1.5 grams of net carbs, y'all. So for 2 ounces, and this is one of the things y'all will hear me teach all of the time. So for 2 ounces of macadamia nuts, you can get 40 grams of fat and only have 3 carbs. And I put up 2 fingers, but you're going to have 3 carbs. So that is amazing, y'all. That's why this is like one of the holy grails for nuts. So if you like macadamia nuts, y'all, you should have them. You should be using them to get your fat. 2 ounces of macadamia nuts are going to give you only 3 grams of carbs, and it's going to give you 40 grams of fat. So let's move on. And I'm looking for your questions there. I see Renee in there. Hey, Renee. And y'all definitely, those of y'all who did not allow StreamYard to recognize you, and see, we got a lot today. Allow StreamYard to recognize you so I know who you are as you comment. I appreciate your comments. That shows the algorithm that you like what you see. So it's like clapping, y'all. It's just like clapping. You know, if you go to a show and you get some good information, or you go to a presentation, you get some good information, hitting the like button or the share button is just like clapping. So pecans, what do you call them? Whatever you call them, y'all. So I see someone talked about Pili Nuts in there. I'll mention those. I don't have them in on the presentation, but I'll mention those. So 20 grams of fat in pecans. So 20 grams of fat. Here again, get your 20s, right? I keep saying get your 20s, get your 20s. So you got the 20 grams of fat. You got 4 grams of carbs, and then you have 2.7 grams of fiber, which is giving you 1.3 grams of carbs, net carbs. So here again, you can get 2 ounces of pecans, and you can get 40 grams of fat. So if you're looking to get to the 120 grams of healthy fat, y'all, we talking about healthy fat. Talking about healthy fat here, and this is 2 ounces. You can get 40 grams of healthy fat and only 3 and a little less than 3. So a little less than 3 grams of net carbs. So you say, is it best to eat nuts in raw form? It's best. It's going to be best to eat them in the raw. I mean, and when you say raw form, I mean, I don't know if you mean like shelled. I think for the most part, just look for them to be the least amount of processing. So you definitely don't want to eat any of that candied. I mean, granted, there are some candied pecans that are keto, but you want to make sure that if you're getting something that has like different seasonings and things on them, you want to make sure that those seasonings are keto approved. But you want to get them like, you know, for the most part in the least processed. They don't have to still be in the shell. They don't have to still be in the shell, but you just want to make sure that when you look at the back of the bag or box, that pretty much they have not processed it. So you say, I mean, versus salted or seasons. Salted is fine, and Natasha, it's good. The seasonings could be good. You just gotta make sure you look at the ingredients. If you are not really well versed with ingredients yet, I would just make sure I just stuck with the basics until you get better with the ingredients. But for the most part, salt is gonna be fine because that's gonna help you get a little bit of the electrolytes that you're gonna need. And the seasonings you gotta be careful with. So let me see what my TikTok said. Macadamias, almonds, pecans, pillies. So I'm going to talk about almonds, Storyful. So almonds is one of the ones that I think people make a big mistake with. So here we go with Brazil nuts. So Brazil nuts. So y'all got my top 3 already. I already gave the top 3. So Brazil, you got 2.1 grams of fiber. You got 3.3 grams of carbs. So net carbs, we got 1.2. So with 2 ounces of Brazil nuts, you're really getting 2.4 grams of carbs. And you got 40 here again, 40. Well, let's be technical. You got 38 grams of fat. So y'all, you're getting like almost, I'm just going to round it to 40. You're getting 40 grams of fat pretty much from these 3 if you do 2 ounces. So keep that in mind, because if you do 1 ounce of some of these others, you're going to get more carbs and you're going to get less fat for 1 ounce. So when you're talking about quote unquote calories, you know, we're not really calorie counting, but you know, you want to make sure you're getting the proper macros. So if you're getting the proper amount of fat, then you're going to get the proper amount of calories, and you're not going to be under eating. So Just imagine that. So I tell everyone that I work with closely, stick to these top three. Stick to these top three. And I know people are going to always ask about the others. So I'm going to explain to you about the others in a moment. But you want to stick to the top three, y'all. Stick to the top three because they listen, you're getting 40 grams of fat for less than 3 grams of carbs. There's no other food item that you can find where you can do this. All right. So these are great. So walnuts, honorable mention. You know, walnuts like the sixth man. All right. So walnuts are like the sixth man. If you just love walnuts, then I say okay. But otherwise, why would I want to eat these when I can get more from the other ones? So look, even when I look at walnuts, I'm getting 18 grams of fat, but the 3.8 carbs minus the fiber, I'm getting, let's just round it up, 2 carbs. So 2 ounces of this is going to be 4 carbs opposed to 3. And I'm getting close to 40, not quite 40, but I'm getting close to 40 on the fat. So this is an honorable mention. You know, if you really love walnuts, but my thought is, why would I eat the walnuts when I can eat the pecans and get a little bit more bang for my buck? A lot more bang for my buck, you know? So, and when I say that, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about macro bucks, all right? I'm talking about your macros bucks, all right? So, hey, Evie, baby, I see you over there on the TikTok side. So let's look down here a little bit further. So hazelnuts, y'all. So hazelnuts, and granted, are walnuts and hazelnuts, quote unquote, keto? Of course they are. But what I want to teach you is that this is where people make the mistakes because they overeat these. And if you're eating with a purpose, as I always give Lori credit, because Lori coined that phrase inside of our mastermind group, I'll always say getting to the goal line. Like if you want to get to the goal line, you got to eat in a certain way or eat with a purpose. You got to eat with a purpose in order to get there. I'm not eating hazelnuts or walnuts when I know I can eat a macadamia nut or Brazil nut or a pecan and get a lot more bang for my buck. So here we're getting 17 grams of fat. So the fat is getting lower and lower. And then we got 2 grams of carbs and net. I'm not going to keep going back and forth with that, but that's the net carbs, right? So about 2 grams of net carbs and 17 grams of fat. So here again, I'm eating 4 grams here and I'm getting a little less fat. So for me, unless I absolutely love hazelnuts, unless I just absolutely love them, I'm not going to eat that. I'm going to eat the other ones. Now, granted, these two are in the game. Walnuts and hazelnuts, they still in the game. You know, you can still do those, but me personally, I'm going to stick with the top 3 unless I absolutely love these 2, hazelnuts or walnuts. So when we look at the pine nuts, so pine nuts, I put this in here because one of my all-star mastermind members always reminds me about pine nuts. And I'm like, I've never had a pine nut before. But when we looked at the pine nuts, you got about 2.6 grams of net carbs. So you're getting a little bit higher in your net carbs. You're still getting the fat, but you're getting a little bit higher in your net carbs. Can you partake in pine nuts? Of course you can. But the thing is are you gonna get the bang for your buck that you really want out of the pine nuts when you can eat something else? You think for pine nuts, we got 2.6 for 1 ounce. For 1 ounce of pine nuts. And if you look here, well, we got right here, we got 2.4 for 2 ounces of Brazil nuts. You get what I'm saying? So you can get 2 ounces of Brazil nuts and get 2.4 grams of carbs opposed to you eating 1 ounce of these and getting 2.6. So this is what I really want you to look at because you get more bang for your buck because people are like, well, I'm not really meeting my macros or I'm not really sure. Well, you got to eat with a purpose. And this is what I talk about, especially with nuts. Like you can macadamia nuts, pecans, Brazil nuts, those people who are not dealing with diverticulitis and can't eat nuts and seeds and things, you can really benefit from these. So let's look at almonds because almonds is the one. This was my mistake. And I call it a mistake. So someone says Brazil nuts are the best. Hey, let StreamYard recognize you so I know who you are, but I appreciate the comment in there. Almonds was my mistake. And when I learned better, I did better, and I started eating macadamia nuts instead of almonds. Why? Because almonds by themselves are 2.6 grams of net carbs. 2.6 grams of net carbs and only 14 grams of fat. So for 2.6, and I'm just going to go to the Brazil nuts. For 2.6, I can get for 2.4 grams, I can get 20 grams of fat And that I'm actually getting 40. So I'm getting twice the amount of fat and the same amount of carbs for 2 ounces instead of 1 ounce. If y'all get what I'm saying. And I wish I could have them on the same screen so I could really show y'all. I got a breakdown here. But I can get 2.4 grams of carbs here and get 40 grams of fat. And I'm saying 40 because I'm doubling these numbers. I'm doubling the number. And I know my TikTok folks can't see this, but hopefully y'all can get on the other platforms and see it. So you can see the this is going to be 2.4 and that's going to be 40. So you get 40 grams of fat for the same thing where you're going to eat 1 ounce of this and get 14 grams of fat for the same amount of carbs. I hope y'all are getting that. I hope y'all are getting that. So for the same amount of carbs, I'm going to get like a whole lot less than half of the fat that I could get from the Brazil nuts, the pecans, even if we look at the macadamia nuts, 1.5, that's 3 grams. So I'm still like 0.4 grams off, but I'm still getting 42 grams of fat, for 2 ounces. And that means you're going to be a little fuller. So some people always say, I'm hungry. I'm still hungry. That's why, because you're eating high carb foods that have low amounts of fat. And the nuts are going to be the main way for you to be able to get all 3 macros. But you want to make sure they're ketogenic. They're ketogenically set up, meaning that you're going to get a high amount of fat, a moderate amount of protein, and a low carb count. And these top 3 are going to be the ones to do that. Your macadamias, your pecans, and your Brazil nuts. So almonds, this is what I say. Almonds are one of those things where if I go to the store, I am not buying a bag of almonds. But if I'm out with my friends and somebody got some almonds and they're like, hey, you want a handful of almonds? I'll eat them. But I'm not going to buy a bag of almonds when I could get a bag of some of the other ones. Again, y'all, this, hey, Lisa, this goes for those individuals who don't have issues with these types of nuts. So I'm speaking to those individuals. I know there's somebody's like, well, I don't eat these, or I can't eat those. Now, those we would have to have a conversation and figure out the best route for you. But for the most part, if you don't have any issues with nuts or seeds, these are the top 3 that you should be going with. And almonds, yes. Are they keto? Yes. But are they going to be the best ones to get you to the goal line? No, it's not. They're not going to help you get to the goal line like the other ones. And then, matter of fact, people tend to overeat these. Because imagine if I ate 2 ounces of these, I'm gonna be at like 7 to 8 grams of carbs. I'm gonna be between 7 to 8 grams of carbs off of eating more like 5. I'm sorry. So I'm gonna be at like 5 grams of carbs on the almonds for 2 ounces. When I can be at 2 grams of carbs for 2 ounces and double the amount of fat. So just keep that in mind. Pistachios. This is one that people mess up on a lot. I get it. Pistachios are delicious. I love pistachios. Another mistake I made when I first started keto, I was eating buku amounts of pistachios. And at that time, I wasn't counting macros. I wasn't doing all of that. So here again, your pistachios, net, you're going to get 2 grams of carbs. Are they ketogenic? Of course they are. Of course they are. But if I'm eating with a purpose and I'm looking to get to the goal line, I'm looking at this 13 grams of fat. I'm looking at this 2 grams of carbs. So for 4 grams of carbs, and I can eat this, I'm gonna be in the 20s. I'm not even gonna be close. I'm not gonna be close to the 40 grams that I could get with 2 ounces of something else. So that's what I look at. So that's how I'm looking at it. That if you're looking to really get yourself in fat burning mode, you got to be strategic about it. You got to really be thinking about what you're eating. You got to really be eating with a purpose. You got to be eating with a purpose. So are pistachios keto? Of course they are. But people can tend to overeat pistachios. Why? Number 1, because they're small. Number 2, they're not going to fill you up. You can eat 4 or 5 ounces of them and probably not even be full. If you're going to eat them, I would say get them in the shell because it's going to probably slow you down. But you can mess around and eat a bunch of these and not even realize that you've overate. Same with the pecans. With the almonds. I used to be that same person. You can just eat them. And because they don't have a lot of fat in them, they're not going to satiate you as much as some of the ones that have higher levels of fat. So here we go with the peanuts. So peanuts, now we're getting a little worse, y'all. We're getting a lot worse. All right. So depending on the brand of peanuts you get, the carb count might change, but you're looking at almost 4 grams of carbs for 1 ounce of peanuts. Here again, if I go to Five Guys, if I'm taking my niece to Five Guys and she wants to get a burger and I'm gonna get one without the bun, and I'm sitting in there, I might unshell some peanuts and eat some. That's all good. I'm not buying a bag of peanuts, because if you buy a bag of peanuts, you're gonna overeat them. 4 grams of carbs for an ounce. I mean, you really gotta really love peanuts in order to be taking these in, when you can do some others and get closer to the goal line. So y'all hear me talk about that a lot. So I really wanted to make sure I really broke this down to you. So look at the cashews, y'all. Cashews are the one that I say is a no-no. These are quote unquote, I'm not going to say the words not keto, but these are not going to help you get to where you want to be. You got 4 grams of carbs in these, only 12 grams of fat compared to the other ones. So imagine if you ate 2 ounces of this, you're going to be at 8 grams of carbs and only 24 grams of fat, where you can get 40 grams of fat for 3 carbs, right? So you really got to be mindful of this, because people will overeat pistachios. And here again, they be trying to figure out what's going on. So this is why you just got to be careful with the nuts, because you can overeat those other ones. So hopefully y'all got a good understanding, a good breakdown of the best way to use these to help you in the ketogenic lifestyle. So macadamia, pecan, Brazil, these are the top 3. These are the holy grail. If I am eating with a purpose, I'm focused on these 3. I'm not even buying the other ones. Not now, not never, right? Because why would I? When I know I could eat these 3 and I could get more bang for my macro bucks. So granted, if you love walnuts, or you love hazelnuts, pine nuts, or love almonds, but just be mindful to keep them inside of your macros. But I think if you're really eating with a purpose, you're going to stick with the top 3. Now, someone mentioned Pili Nuts. So Pili Nuts are really good. They have a high level of fat. They're not as, I guess, readily available to everyone. They probably are, they're not as out there yet. But they have, I don't have the carb count right in front of me, but they are very good. They're very comparable to the top 3, and they have a high level of fat in them. And I hear that they taste like cashews. So some people have said different, but I've heard few people say they taste similar to cashews. They have like that soft buttery type taste like cashews have. So try the Pili Nuts. I've reached out to them. I haven't really got much response, but I've reached out to them to try and see. I've never tried it myself, but Pili, and I believe it's P-I-L-L-I. If it's not, it's P-I-L-I is one L, I'm sorry. So check that out. I know they have them on Amazon, so y'all can check those out. They may be in my Amazon store. So if you go to my Amazon store, you can check those out. If you go to the link in my bio, said thank you for the nuts info. He said I'm watching from almonds and pecan. Yeah, switching from almonds to pecans. Very good. Yeah, thank you, Renee. I'm glad. So I helped one person. So at least if I help one person, I know it was worth the time to sit here. So I understand, but I do miss my walnuts. So Missy said I do miss my walnuts. But walnuts are definitely okay. They're the honorable mention. But, if you're eating with a purpose, you definitely, I think that walnuts and pecans are very similar in their texture and their taste. Now, granted, I know they don't taste exactly alike, but they're very similar. So if you like that texture, then I would just go with the pecans, because I'm going to get a little bit more bang for my buck. But walnuts are not totally out of the realm. So walnuts are not totally out of the realm. That would be, if I got to go with the top 5, then I'm going with the hazelnuts, the walnuts, the Brazil nuts, the pecans, and the macadamia if I got to go with a top 5. But I would really stick with the top 3. And Pili Nuts would be in there, but Pili Nuts are definitely not as readily available as some of the others. So here we go with my little data chart here. Y'all like my little data chart? So less than 2 grams of carbs. You got the Brazil nuts, you got pecans, you got macadamia nuts, walnuts, hazelnuts. So these are your top 5 if you're looking at net carbs. And these also have a good amount of fat. So 18 grams of fat or more. You got macadamia nuts, you got pecans, you got Brazil nuts. The pine nuts are up there in the fat. They knocked the walnuts out. I'm sorry, they knocked the hazelnuts out. And then you got walnuts at 18 grams. So here goes your fatty nuts. So why is this important? Because sometimes what I get a lot just as a coach is people will come to me and say, I'm low on fat, but I'm almost at my carb number. So here you go. You know which ones you should get. I didn't get my fat in today, but I only have a few carbs left. So I'm gonna get the macadamia nuts. It's gonna help me get closer to the fat number, and I'm gonna eat something that's very low in carbs, like Brazil nuts. So that's how you can manage your macros when you're low or high on something. So here goes the protein. Here goes a high protein nut. So say you need more protein for the day. I'm not gonna get peanuts. I put these here, but I'm not gonna eat the peanuts. I may eat the almonds. I may eat the pistachios, but your top choices, and I highlighted this, are gonna be walnuts and hazelnuts. They're gonna be your top choices. The walnuts and the hazelnuts are gonna be your top choices in that situation, because these are over here as well. So these are going to be your top choices as far as macros go. So just keep those things in mind, y'all. I think that will be very helpful. So I think that I think I'm gonna leave it here, and I'll save the berries lesson for another day. I'll save the berries lesson for another day. So I hope that this was helpful for y'all. If you want to come over to TikTok, I'm going to be over there for a little while, just for a little bit of Q&A. So I appreciate y'all coming along to this evening, y'all. So make sure you want to stick with the top three. The top three are going to be the main ones you want to stick with: your macadamia nuts, your pecans, and your Brazil nuts. So I hope that y'all learned something today from Keto Class, and I'll be back at you guys next Sunday. I will see y'all soon in Keto Class. Appreciate y'all, and y'all have a great week, y'all. It's Sunday. Y'all gotta have a great week. So I see some thank yous in there. Thank y'all. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you comment. Y'all can check out my book is on Amazon. It is there. It is up. It is live. It is. I'm loving the fact that it's physical, y'all. Because I told y'all, like, I put a lot of work in, and it's years of work. I know it's a small book, y'all, but it took me years to get this out. So, y'all, but it's valuable information. It literally will walk you through the ketogenic lifestyle. It gives you all of the basics. That's why it's called the playbook. It's going to give you all the fundamentals of the ketogenic lifestyle. And if you look at my face, you can see that I've lost weight since the cover photo. All right. So I had a photo shoot about 4 years ago, right when I started the ketogenic lifestyle. And that's how I look. That's how chubby my face was. So I've lost 35 pounds since then. So, and I continue to help others lose weight and just learn how to eat ketogenically, how to be able to regulate their blood sugar, their blood pressure, A1Cs, all those good things, y'all. So I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all again. And I'll see y'all next Sunday. Have a great week. See y'all.